Hello, my name is Kent Christensen. Welcome to my school improvement presentation. I see several problems with my school that needs to be improved. The culture of the building has a laid-back, anything-goes feel. This comes from the staff and the students. This creates several issues with the building. One issue is the academic standards that the students are held to are very low. A second issue is the number of students having an unacceptable number of unexcused absences. A third issue is a culture that does not seem to include all students. The literature suggests that any long-lasting, meaningful improvement must be in line with a shared mission and vision. My school has no documented vision and two missions, one for each program. My focus is creating a single school mission and vision. This will attempt to improve school attendance, student academic achievement, and create a culture of success for all students. I chose this action because this program has taught me that long-lasting improvement requires several factors. For long-term improvement to succeed, it must be in line with the school vision and mission. The purpose of a strong vision is to give the school direction while the mission provides the path to get there. These must be in line with the core values of the staff or the school. The with the values increase the buy-in from the staff, which improves the chances that the staff adhere to the mission and the vision. They also rely on a positive school culture that supports the mission. Nothing can be created in isolation, and school improvement relies on all of the parts supporting it. My district has had several issues with its attempt at improvement in the past. The changes do not last. These include attempts at the creation of a district-wide student council, curriculum changes, and uniform bell schedules, just to name a few. In my district, there is no vision to guide our long-term goals. In my school, there are two programs, the tech program for at-risk teens and the teach program for teen parents. There are two missions, one for each program. Both missions can be summarized as either our students will get a high school diploma or they will go back to their districts. This separation of programs creates two cultures. Neither culture supports high academic standards, and just like many schools, attendance is a major issue. During the planning process, we had several issues. The first is the most common to any change initiative. This would be staff resistance. A small group of staff members were resistant to the plan from the start. These staff members preferred one program over the other. This did not deter the team from getting the input from the resistant staff. The planning process also had to compete with many other unexpected changes. These changes included the physical education teacher being assigned to another school part-time, the vice principal being transferred to another school, the population of the school being sent to a sister school approximately 45 minutes away while the roof was repaired, another change to the bell schedule, and a hiring freeze that increased the workload for many of the teachers. We also had our art program cut. The literature says that too many changes hinders improvement. This also applies to planning improvement. The transfers early on reduced the size of the school improvement team. The increase in workload from the hiring freeze and the change in school caused significant staff burnout and hindered the team's ability to maintain the scheduled meeting every 2 weeks. All the changes in such a short period of time also decreased staff morale. As stated, we plan on decreasing the number of students with excessive unexcused absences. We will increase the academic standards of the school and we will improve the school culture. We will create a vision and a mission. The results are measurable. This will be shown in the drop in number of students with 5 or more unexcused absences by at least 25%. An improvement in academic standards will also be shown in an average increase of one grade level on the diagnostic test which will be given twice per year. The plan is actionable. The improvement team will meet bi-weekly. We will determine the values of the staff in the school. We will create a vision and mission for the school. We collected the values from the staff, including resistors. The only resources required are time, staff, and buy-in. The main challenge is keeping everybody motivated. The action is worthwhile due to it being the foundation of any long-term improvement. It will be implemented at the beginning of the school year after completion because major changes mid-year causes chaos. The planning process encountered several issues due to the unanticipated problems mentioned earlier. The results of the problems was a delay in the planning process as team members were transferred to other schools and the staff adapting to the conditions that increased workloads and decreased morale. Despite all of this, I learned that many of the staff saw the same issues I did with the academic standards and the culture. They just needed someone to start the discussion. So, who was involved? We involved as many people as we could with the process. The improvement team had 3 teacher representatives, including myself, the guidance counselor, the social worker, and the vice principal. The rest of the staff were involved by providing their values. When the plan is implemented, they will give diagnostic tests to their students. Unfortunately, as the planning progressed, our team decreased in size. One of the teachers was transferred part-time to another school and left the team. The social worker left the team when the building closed and the entire school was transferred to a different site for 6 weeks. The vice principal was transferred to another school. The goal of my plan is to create a unified school culture that supports academic achievement. Since successful school improvement relies on a strong mission and vision, my improvement plan is to set the foundation for future improvement at the school level by creating the mission and the vision. To do this, I created the School Improvement Committee. I held several meetings for the initial proposal to ensure that everybody was introduced to my plan. The committee that was created had representatives from the teaching staff, support staff, and school administration. The committee collected the educational values from the staff of the school. This was done by members of the committee directly asking the staff. Assignments were based on who had the best relationships with the individual staff members. The values of the staff appeared to focus on emotional growth, completing high school, and preparing students for life after high school, be it continuing education or entering the workforce. From the values, we created a mission that incorporated at least one value from each staff member. Luckily, there were some overlaps. We also developed a vision. The improvement plan has us implementing the mission and the vision for the 25-26 school year, and we will collect the attendance and diagnostic data to determine initial success. So looking back, there are a few things that I would do differently. Although I did not anticipate several of the changes that occurred, I should have worked through the delays. I attempted to wait for the ideal time to allow the team to focus on the plan. I learned that the ideal time may never come. I need to be more consistent with scheduling meetings and managing work from home days and scheduled time off. Given the chance, I would have delayed the entire process until much later in the year. Trying to plan for a major change amongst other major changes hindered the team's ability to focus. There have been a few positive changes as a result of the process so far. We worked out better collection times of the attendance data. It was changed from monthly to the end of the marking period. We also increased the staff's willingness to communicate with each other, which also improved the relational trust to some degree. The process has taught me several things and reinforced others. I learned that while staff may be enthusiastic about change and show interest when an idea is presented, when the time comes to act, there is a tendency not to follow through. I also learned that resistors still like to have their opinions heard. A valuable lesson that was learned was not all problems could be planned for. I must adapt and work through these problems. It has been stated that too many improvements at the same time can cause an improvement to fail. This also applies to general changes as well. This was reinforced as members of the improvement team left due to transfers and low morale caused by being required to adapt to too many changes within a few months. I also discovered that a change to culture takes time. It is not enough to show that a change needs to take place. The staff must also want it to happen. There is resistance to merging the two cultures of my school due to preferences that some staff has to one population over the other. As long as this preference exists, there will be a cultural divide. So I have been taught that a strong vision is necessary for long-lasting reform. This must be a direction, there must be a direction that leads any change effort. The vision should be based on shared values. These shared values drive the improvement. The creation of a vision that staff and students buy into is important to the development of a positive academic culture. And positive culture is a useful strategy to improve attendance. So the relationship to the standards. NELP 1.1 is the basis for any meaningful school improvement. It requires an awareness of the need of a strong mission and vision. This standard is directly related to my improvement plan since we are trying to create the mission and the vision in our school. NELP 1.2 is about leading an improvement process. Since my improvement plan will use data in the form of attendance, diagnostic tests, and informal observations to measure level of success, this standard applies to my plan. NELP 2.1 is about professional norms and developing professional norms in others. This standard applies because as the leader of the project, I will be the role model of leadership. I will present the level of transparency, fairness, and trust that I want to see in others. The creation of a mission and vision also requires some level of reflection to be effective. NELP 7.2 applies because one of the desired outcomes of this plan is to create a mission and vision that the staff can buy into. This outcome will help cultivate professional culture where student learning and success is the focus. With the culture becoming more professional, the level of relational trust will also increase. So I will give some background information about my school. My school is a 12-month program with 5 marking periods. It currently services students from grade 8 to 12. The TEACH program, which is Teen Education and Child Health program, is 77% of the population. The Tech or Transitional Education Center program is 23% of the population. Special education students make up 23% of the population. All students qualify as low income. As an out-of-district placement, the length of our enrollment generally ranges from 1 marking period to 2 years. In my district, 5 unexcused absences results in the student receiving no credit for the marking period. The attendance data for the previous 4 marking periods show that on average, approximately 42% of the students are in danger of receiving no credit. To determine if the plan is successful, we will look for a 25% decrease in the number of students with 5 or more unexcused absences. This year, the diagnostic tests indicate that less than 10% of our students is on grade level, and 50% are 3 or more years below grade level. We will consider the plan successful from an attendance perspective if we can bring the percent of students with 5 or more unexcused absences to an average of 30%. Due to the turnover of our students, we will start collecting the diagnostic test data when the mission is implemented to maintain the integrity of the data. We will also want the students to improve the grade level of their diagnostic test by 1 to 2 years. But the teachers will collect the diagnostic data for the classes. The front office is responsible for the attendance data. So the scope of the effort. After creating the improvement team, our first task was determining our own values and collecting the values of the staff. The values were entered into a shared document as they were collected. This provided the team members access to live updates between meetings. The analysis and selection of the values were done live. We used the selected values to create the vision and mission. While we could not incorporate every value for every staff member, we tried to incorporate at least one value from every staff member. After developing the prototype, we spent several weeks adjusting the wording until there was agreement. After completion of the mission, we submitted it for approval from the principal. We started collecting attendance data to determine a baseline for success. More importantly, we increased the willingness of the staff to communicate with each other. So this is the vision and the mission that the team created. Since the values of the staff were split between continuing education and entering the workforce, we tried to incorporate both. The mission we agreed on is our mission at DCF Regional Schools Monmouth campus is to provide our students with opportunities to develop the skills needed to be successful after high school, be it continuing education or entering the workforce. We will help them cultivate a positive work ethic as well as the skills to become lifelong learners. The vision that we agreed on is we strive to prepare our students with the skills necessary to become successful members of society after graduation. We will prepare our students for the path they choose after graduation, be it college, trade school, or entering the workforce. So assuming that the mission and the vision are approved, they will be implemented for the 25-26 school year. This start time was chosen because major changes during the school year does not give adequate time for the staff to adapt to the change. The mission will be promoted throughout the school as a reminder of what the school stands for. This will be done through bulletin boards, teachers reviewing it with students, and possibly through student-created banners, assuming art comes back. At the beginning of the year, and when a student starts during the year, diagnostic tests will be given to create a baseline. A second test will be given at the end of the year to determine if there was improvement. If we reach our goals, we will continue to collect data and monitor progress. We will also determine what our next improvement project will be. If we do not reach our goals, the improvement team will reevaluate the mission. If we determine the mission is ineffective, we will develop a new one. If it is salvageable, we will modify it and try again. So these are my references. If there are any questions or comments about my presentation or advice, feel free to let me know. Thank you for watching.